Welcome to NACTV Reads the News. My name is Lane Englud, and I'm one of many volunteers that help create programming for our station. NACTV can be seen on MTS Channel 30 or 1030, Westman Cable Channel 17, Bell Satellite Channel 592, or online at nactv.tv. These programs are made possible by our volunteers, staff, advertisers, as well as by donations made by you, the viewers. If you are enjoying your NACTV experience, please consider supporting us either by donation or volunteering. You can contact our office at 476-2639 or at nactv@wcgwave.ca. Provincial funding fuels Neepawa infrastructure growth by Josh Jackson. The province has pledged $4.8 million to assist Neepawa in upgrading two sections of Provincial Trunk Highway 16. This additional funding is expected to assist in improving access to the community's new health centre. Neepawa Mayor Brian Headley said it's a great thing to see the province investing in Neepawa. The provincial government's commitment to improve road infrastructure in Neepawa is a positive development that is consistent with their acknowledgement of the growth in Neepawa and the region, he said. The town of Neepawa was notified back in March that it was approved to receive a funding contribution of up to $2 million to help extend Hamilton Street East along the south periphery of the new hospital, as well as create a north-south connection to PTH 16. This funding was approved under the Manitoba Growth, Renewal and Opportunities for Municipalities program, Manitoba Grow, and will be completed by Neepawa. The other $2.8 million that is referenced relates to the improvements on Highway 16, where the new north-south piece of road will connect with PTH 16 to create a new intersection that will access development to the north, including the new hospital, which will be completed by Manitoba Transportation and Infrastructure. Mayor Headley noticed he's gotten feedback since the announcement, and residents are appreciative of the province's commitment to assist the town with these road improvements. It is clear that the province is paying attention to what is happening in rural Manitoba and understands the challenges associated with growth and sustainability. These investments ensure rural Manitoba and communities like Neepawa can build resilience and thrive. In a press release, Municipal and Northern Relations Minister Glenn Simard noted these improvements represent a critical investment in the future of Neepawa and the overall region. Improving mobility will allow residents and businesses to more easily access the expanded regional health center, as well as a community road network that connects to a new affordable daycare, the new school, the industrial park, and Neepawa's largest employer, High Life Foods, he said. These road upgrades are an important part of making sure that the infrastructure keeps up with the growth of the community, with proposed designs targeting and prioritizing safety. As development continues east of Neepawa, the town is aware of the increasing impact on the transportation routes, whether specific to the highway or the internal connector roads within Neepawa. Currently, on the east of Neepawa, the traffic flow relies on number 16 for access. The extension of Hamilton Street will create an internal community connection to not only the new hospital and the new school daycare, but will provide an alternative internal connection to the industrial park and High Life Foods for residents. The proposed design will assist traffic flow and lessen the impact on Highway 16, improving safety. The Manitoba Grow program is an application-based program launched in 2024 as part of the province's Build One Manitoba. The program aims to support infrastructure projects that help communities grow and thrive. Transportation and Infrastructure Minister Lisa Naylor said after years of being ignored, These projects reflect the provincial government's commitment to ensuring that rural Manitobans get the vital infrastructure projects they deserve. As the economic growth in Neepawa continues, it's important that residents can feel safe and secure as they interact with a growing number of vehicles on the road. This infrastructure investment will ensure a high level of safety for all drivers, she said. On the front page, we have photos of the Carberry Fair and races. This picture on the front page is showing a chariot race, and on page 12 it continues with more pictures. Ride like the wind, cowboy. There was plenty to see and do at the annual Carberry Fair and races this past weekend. Pictured here are some additional scenes from the racing events, which drew a large crowd yet again. Whether it was a chariot or chuck wagon races, draft horse shows, or something else, there was likely to be something to catch your eye at the fair. Seemed like the perfect fit by Casper Werehan. Dr. Sidney McLaughlin returns to Neepawa for medical residency. A former Neepawa resident has made a homecoming to the community in the pursuit of medicine. This individual is Dr. Sidney McLaughlin, who completed her first day of a 2-year residency for rural family medicine on Wednesday, July 2nd. This medical residency is a part of her employment with Shared Health and is based out of the Beautiful Plains Medical Clinic. This residency term will provide her with experience in a variety of clinical situations. In addition to time at the clinic, it can and has included shifts at the Neepawa Hospital's emergency department, time in the operating room, and more. I'm really excited to be home. I chose to come home. I always knew I wanted to do family medicine. I didn't know originally if that would take me back to Neepawa, but I've been able to come back here a couple of times and it just seemed like the perfect fit, said Dr. McLaughlin. My family is all here and I'm just so excited and thankful to give back to the community because this is the community that raised me. A lot of the opportunities I have had grew from this community. Dr. McLaughlin's prior experiences stem from her time studying at the University of Manitoba. Her first 4 years of study there were to obtain her Bachelor of Science, with the following 4 years dedicated to medical schooling specifically. During medical school, Dr. McLaughlin took part in the Home for the Summer program, formerly known as Discover Health Careers. During the Home for the Summer program, the participants are paid to work as a student in a clinic and are paired with preceptors, experienced practitioners who provide supervision. Through the program, Dr. McLaughlin spent 8 weeks of employment with the Beautiful Plains Medical Clinic during the summer of 2022. Then in the summer of 2023, she gained experience at a variety of locations throughout Manitoba, including Neepawa, Killarney, St. Rose de Lac, and Dauphin. I knew when I started medical school that I wanted to practice in a rural community, but having the opportunity to participate in HFTS allowed me to experience the scope of practice of a rural family physician and further strengthened my decision to pursue rural medicine as a career choice, Dr. McLaughlin said. She added, HFTS taught me many things, not only about medicine, but also about life in medicine and how to cope with the challenges that come with pursuing a career in medicine. I had a variety of preceptors throughout my time in HFTS that offered advice on how work-life balance and how to build a rewarding career. It also gave me the opportunity to further develop my procedural skills as I gained more confidence in suturing, emergency room procedures, and management of obstetrics cases. At present, Dr. McLaughlin noted that she has plenty to look forward to with her current residency term, both professionally and personally. There's a lot of really amazing doctors here, and I'm really excited to learn from them all. I'm excited to gain a little more independence, a little more confidence, and hopefully become a good doctor, Dr. McLaughlin enthused. I'm also just really looking forward to being back here in my home community and getting back to all of the things I used to do here. Going to community events, spending time with friends and family. I'm really excited to be back in rural Manitoba. While there is much yet to be done, I's to dot and T's to cross, Dr. McLaughlin hopes to have a permanent position as a doctor of family medicine in rural Manitoba once her 2-year residency in Neepawa is complete. Until then, Dr. McLaughlin extended a kind word to all who may come to the Beautiful Plains Medical Clinic for the staff's medical expertise. I hope everybody is comfortable coming to the clinic, regardless of anything, said Dr. McLaughlin. Come to the clinic and we can help you. New Awesome presents donation to Habitat for Humanity. Representing the Mission, Service and Outreach Committee of the Neepawa United Anglican Shared Ministry, Nancy Hunter and Elsie Slimman presented Shelley Graham, representing Habitat for Humanity, with the proceeds of their June project. The donation totaled $1,666. Habitat extends its thanks to New Awesome for their generosity. Right in the Center by Ken Waddell. If government wants us to buy Canadian, they need to buy Canadian. This past week, the Manitoba Legislature Committee supporting local journalism met in Brandon. Several media people and journalists made presentations at Brandon, and I was privileged to be one of the presenters. I opened my remarks by saying, governments are starting to realize something that rural people and especially newspaper publishers knew a long time ago. Many areas in rural Manitoba are shrinking in population. Some are holding their own, and a few communities that are growing. Many towns that had local newspapers don't have one anymore. There are only about 13 community newspapers left in southwestern Manitoba. Less than 10 years ago, there were 20. News desert is a relatively new term, but it is becoming a reality in southwestern Manitoba. There are two basic reasons newspapers have disappeared or are struggling. First, the kinds of corporate ownership that came in about 15 years ago turned out very badly for local community newspapers. The corporations have admitted to me that they went about it all wrong, but it's too late for the papers that they killed off. Of the 9 southwestern Manitoba papers that were corporately owned, only 2 survived, and that's in part because we bought them both. That is the Neepawa Press, which started in 1896, and the Verdun Empire Advance, which started in 1885. Second, about 10 years ago, large advertisers such as car companies, along with provincial and federal governments, decided to take a lot of their print advertising dollars and send them to California through outlets like Facebook instead of local media. Those two moves, the corporate takeovers and the out-of-country ad buying, changed the viability of Manitoba community newspapers more than anything else, in my opinion. There have been some efforts by government to help the newspaper industry, such as Canadian Heritage Grants and the Local Journalism Initiative. These have been welcome, but there is a better solution that governments can implement. It's called buy ads. Grants and subsidies are okay, but independent newspaper people don't want grants and subsidies. They want ads. A newspaper needs about 40% ad content to survive. Less ads means less news means a weaker newspaper. Governments should want to buy ads too. They have endless numbers of press releases, but without ads, there's no way newspapers can afford the ink, the paper, labor, and transportation to get the papers out every week, and to the readers that can carry the releases. I have been very blunt with government and organizations. I don't want your press releases and rarely use them. If our papers are worth having press releases, and if they think our readers will read them, why isn't it important to have ads in the paper? Governments have a special obligation to buy ads. They are obliged to let the taxpayers know what on earth they are doing. Governments have a long history of being talkers and bureaucrats, but think about it. How are we supposed to know what you are doing without the voters being told, and preferably in writing? The voters deserve to know what our governments are doing, and government should be proud to tell us about it. But why local newspapers? It's because we are reliable and accountable. You can send your ad dollars to Facebook and the internet, but where is the accountability and reliability of those outlets? Local papers are accountable and reliable, and there's 2 reasons why we are. 1, we love our communities and would never do anything to harm them. 2, if we put something in our papers that isn't truthful, we will hear about it by coffee time the next morning, if not sooner. Because we are local, because we are reliable and accountable, we have earned our place in our province and communities. So just buy ads locally. Both levels of government are promoting a buy Canadian, buy local theme, and we in the newspaper industry totally agree. Homebodies by Rita Friesen. One of the beauties of walking. This morning the path I chose was the perimeter of the bike park, through the tall trees east of the cemetery, along the flowing water, and up the 70-plus steps. Each time we walk this trail, there is something different to see, to notice, to reflect upon. Not many weeks ago, I paused to watch a turtle dig a nest not far from the trail. Watching her, I recalled a summer or 2 ago when I thought I spotted a large coin on the road passing the compost. When I stopped to pick it up, it was a tiny turtle. Why would a mama lay her eggs so far from the water source, and how was the wee one to ever safely get there? I helped it across the gravel road and blessed its journey. Today on the pedestrian path across from the old lagoon, there was a ravaged turtle egg nest. Some predator had dined well. Through the tall trees, under the spreading oaks, the thoughts have shifted with the seasons. In spring, plant your corn when the oak leaves are the size of a squirrel's ears. In fall, a heavy crop of acorns is an indication of a hard winter. All year long, the ancient trees remind of inner strength, the need for deep roots, and the wonder of the seasons. There was a kingbird watching us. The flashback here was to my childhood. It was a Sunday afternoon. My hair had been freshly washed, and as I headed to the outhouse, a kingbird, protecting its nest, crapped on my head. I too protect my family, working with the tools I have. So, no, I have not literally pooped on anyone's head. The squirrels and ground squirrels tease and torment my little dog. She is never off leash, for I am certain that given free rein, she would follow them anywhere. I enjoy their chatter and their antics, marveling at their daring and dexterity, sometimes longing for the apparent freedom. Beavers and deer are common sights, depending on the time of day that we are walking. Again, I marvel at their abilities. They disappear and appear without a sound, mostly. I recognize the slap of the broad beaver tail, warning all others that there is a trespasser in the area. I recognize the stamp of a hoof and the warning snort of a deer, reminding me to back off. She was there first. It matters not how many times I walk the same path, there is always something new to see. It is a time for a slowing down, an opening of the mind, a freeing myself from the cares of today. Seldom does a walk not include human interaction. It is easy to linger in a conversation out on the trail or on the street. It is common for the chat to go deep, to truly connect for a moment, to speak of hopes and fears, and yes, the weather and the gardens. One of the beauties of walking is that it's me time, a luxury and a gift. If you blink, you miss it. Faithfully yours by Neil Stroschein. A few weeks ago, I came across a YouTube video I never expected to see. It was shot over 5 days by a content creator who drove the Trans-Canada Highway from Toronto to Vancouver and was uploaded and viewed at 4 times normal speed. Fortunately, the creator included subtitles informing viewers when provincial borders were crossed and the cities of Winnipeg, Regina, and Calgary were bypassed, thanks to roads like Winnipeg's Perimeter Highway that keep through traffic from congesting city streets. Some of the footage featured scenes with which I am very familiar, having driven from Neepawa to various places along the Trans-Canada on several occasions. But I had to pay attention. Familiar landmarks, like the welcome signs at provincial borders, zipped across my computer's screen at 400 kilometers per hour. If I blinked, I missed them. Fortunately, YouTube videos can be rewound, allowing viewers to see what they have missed. But we can't do that in daily life. The little things in life, the events that create lifelong memories, those small incidents that make each day worth living can come and go in the blink of an eye. If we blink, we might miss them. But if we stay alert, we may be surprised at how many of these little things can happen to each of us every day. For example, earlier this year, one of the content creators I follow demonstrated how, by clicking a simple link, I can use the Photos app on my phone to identify the trees in my backyard, telling me which trees I can prune now and which ones, like a big elm, I can't touch until early November. One little thing that keeps me from getting into big trouble. Another of the little things I appreciate is clear instructions from a medical receptionist taking me to a treatment room, an usher showing me to my seat at a concert or other public event, or people working in stifling heat, brutal cold, or driving rain to control traffic on a portion of a highway that is under construction. Thank you for faithfully standing at your post and helping keep motorists and workers safe. I must also compliment the staff in the stores and the restaurants I frequently visit. I will never forget one incident that happened many years ago. I had been served by the same clerk in the same business several times before. I always ordered the same item and always paid with exact change. On this day, when I arrived at this clerk's till, I found that my order was already prepared and waiting for me to pick up. I took the order with one hand, gave the clerk the exact change with the other, said thank you, and left, almost without breaking stride. When I got to my car, I had a good laugh, wondering what the customers standing behind me in line thought about what they had just seen. These may be little things to some people, but the memories they create last forever. So today I want to say thank you. Thank you to those who make everyone around them feel important. Thank you to those whose kind words and warm smiles ease tension in a room. Thank you to those who speak with others on the street, direct visitors to their desired destination, or help a friend in need. Your warmth, kindness, and consideration make life better for all who experience it. Today I say thank you to you and to God for bringing you to our communities, our province, and our country. Letter to the editor. R-Cut best solution for 5-in-1 intersection. With all due respect to those who advocate for a different improvement to the intersection of Highway 5 in the Trans-Canada, I would offer that their resistance to a so-called R-Cut is both unfounded and unreasonable. Considering the rarity of said intersections, it is likely that few, if any, of the petitioners have actually driven through one. Well, I have, many times in various parts of the U.S., and I would advocate for it in this instance all day long. These intersections are brilliant, if properly constructed. Properly in this case meaning enough U-turn median, acceleration and slowdown lane length, and right turn curvature is built into the project. You can actually cross a 4-lane divided highway with barely a slowdown. Of course, there is in all likelihood a good chance that stopping may be necessary when crossing the 4-lane road during busy traffic, but that's been the case at as this intersection is now, regardless of traffic volume. Traversing these intersections is very simple. Approaching the 4-lane, intending to cross it or turn left, you make an easy right turn onto a dedicated acceleration lane, which you use to get up to speed, to merge into traffic, and change lanes toward the left U-turn slowdown lane. Now you are in your own left turn lane facing oncoming traffic and can easily see and plan your U-turn onto the opposite traffic lanes, where you transition into a dedicated slowdown right turn lane to continue on your journey, or begin your acceleration in the right-hand lane to continue down the 4-lane as though you made a left turn onto it. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. And continuing on page 14. Those who advocate for an overpass versus this solution should seriously consider the negatives to an overpass before writing off the R-Cut. The area in question is a wide open blizzard zone in winter. Imagine the dangers of drifting snow across the Trans-Canada that an overpass would cause. That in itself is a huge concern. Then there is the challenge of entering and exiting a separate graded intersection, whether a cloverleaf interchange where long sweeping curves are easy to slide off of when slippery, or a diamond type intersection that would force drivers turning left from the 4-lane onto the 2-lane to stop and then pull onto a bridge with hampered visibility to oncoming 2-lane traffic due to the hill caused by the bridge. Resolving such issues can be done, but at what cost? Plain and simple, the traffic along Highway 5 does not justify dozens, if not hundreds of millions to build a full-scale interchange, and I would strongly suggest that a less expensive rural interchange would be exponentially more hazardous than an R-cut. Drivers are met with a variety of hazards regardless of the type of road or conditions. It's our responsibility to drive accordingly. An R-cut will not impede anyone's schedule to a measurable amount. Even that all-important heavy truck traffic needs to realize this type of intersection is actually an advantage over alternatives. You may not need to come to a complete stop for a loaded Super Bee. That's a good thing. It's common to resist change, especially changing to something new. However, this new idea is actually around 50 years old. There is a lot of data in support of this type of intersection at this particular location. There was an emotionally tragic event that has brought this issue to the fore. Let's not try to let those emotions dictate what the best solution is. By Monty Simon of Standard, Alberta. Out of Helen's Kitchen, food safety. Canada has approximately 4 million cases of food poisoning every year. Food poisoning is often viewed as a temporary inconvenience, a few days of stomach upset and diarrhea. For certain people, it can be more than an inconvenience. Food poisoning can lead to far more serious and long-lasting health problems that affect the digestive system, such as irritable bowel syndrome, long-term kidney damage, chronic fatigue, and chronic arthritis, to name a few. When I took my food safe course, our instructor was a dietitian who worked on a ward with renal failure persons, and many of her kidney damaged patients were there because of food poisoning. She stated that the public was unaware of the many long-term consequences of food poisoning. Many cases of food poisoning can be prevented by following safe food handling practices. Hand washing is very important, as is cleansing kitchen surfaces thoroughly and changing dishcloths and tea towels often. I am sure your tea towels could tell a story of a busy life of drying dishes, wiping down counters, pulling hot dishes from the microwave, and drying hands. If you're using the same kitchen towel for a multitude of jobs, you could easily be spreading bacteria across many kitchen surfaces. To eliminate bacteria, kitchen towels should be changed often and washed in the hot cycle of the washing machine. The hot water will help kill the bacteria. Dry your tea towels, either by air drying or in a hot dryer. Bacteria thrive in warm, damp conditions, and by their nature, dishcloths and sponges are often damp, so it's easy to see how they can quickly become a breeding ground for germs. After using your kitchen dishcloth or sponge, make sure you thoroughly rinse it and hang it to dry. If your dishcloth was used to clean up raw meat, poultry, or seafood juices, then it should go immediately into the laundry, and a clean one should be used. If you are not washing dishcloths right away, make sure it is hung up to dry first and not left bunched up in a ball where bacteria will continue to grow. I often soak my sponges and dishcloths for 10 minutes in a small pail with water and Javix, then let them dry before I launder them. The message of this story is have lots of kitchen cloths on hand and do not wait until it's smelly or looks grubby before washing. Food safety to be continued next week. And Helen has 2 recipes, garlic sausage kebabs and bacon dogs. Your Listening Ear by Delcy Martin, Planning for a Serious Conversation. In the media, there are many good-intentioned messages about the importance of improving communication in your relationship. The problem is that communication is a very big word that encompasses a lot of different things. We constantly receive messages about improving communication, but not a lot of specifics on how that should be done. I would argue that a lot of relationship difficulties come from a miscommunication. You'd think it would come easy talking to the human that we've chosen out of so many, but who we think we know best, and we hope knows us best, who we trust completely, right? Nope. Communicating with our intimate partner can be more difficult than communicating with a stranger. The reason is that we have a lot more at stake if what we are communicating isn't accepted by our partner. The emotional investment is very real, and the fear of losing that is also very real. No matter how we try to get around it, emotional intimacy is a cornerstone of a successful relationship, and the only way to get emotional intimacy is to allow yourself to be vulnerable and talk to your partner. Going into a conversation without a plan, especially if it's a serious one, can leave you fumbling for words in the moment and your brain moving into panic mode. A plan can ease your brain in the moment. Some people may need to write it out. If you have any doubts going into the conversation or feel overwhelmed before you invite your partner to conversation, I highly suggest you write points down. Reading points off a paper during your conversation may not be for you, but the act of writing it down can help you to better commit the steps to memory. Don't be afraid to write down potential positive effects of this conversation. This will help to remind you that you are being brave for a good reason. Before you invite your partner into conversation, if you have the ability or desire, sit quietly and reflect. Set your mental intention for the conversation and a couple of brief points you might want to remember. This might look like this. I sit quietly, close my eyes, and think to myself, I want to embody respect, openness, and care. Respect, openness, and care. I want to remember to not interrupt and allow my partner to finish speaking. I breathe deeply, focusing my attention on my breath, and open my eyes. Setting a mental intention may seem ridiculous to some, but it actually works. Your brain likes to fall into automatic paths of behavior that it gets used to over time. If you want to engage in a behavior or remember something that is outside of the typical, you need to be intentional in changing that path. It seems super obvious when you say it out loud, but timing of a conversation is very important, but it's something we forget to consider. Consider what time of day your partner seems most tired, irritable, or disconnected. It's natural for us to have a slump during the day, so you may want to avoid having serious conversations during that time of day. It just adds an extra variable to affect the outcome of the talk. In terms of physical location, a quiet and private space is vital for serious conversations. Your mood and your partner's mood are two essential variables that can affect the outcome of your conversation. If you have the ability to control the timing of your conversation, aim for times where you are both in tune with the world around you, not lost in your head and in a problem-solving mood. Now that you've planned for your conversation with your partner, it's time to invite them to conversation. This is what we will explore next time in your listening ear. Thanks for listening to my content. Delcy Martin, BA, MSW, RSW, is a registered social worker working out of the Wellness Clinic in Brandon. Meet the RM of Rosedale's new CAO by Casper Warehan. Jordan Wilner takes over administrative role. The rural municipality of Rosedale has recently welcomed a fresh face to its rank. Joining the governing team is Jordan Wilner, Rosedale's new Chief Administrative Officer. Wilner was first welcomed on June 25th as outlined by a signed letter of offer coordinated with the Rosedale Council. Wilner steps into this role as Melissa McDonald's successor, whose departure from the role was scheduled for June 27th. Official resolutions regarding this change were scheduled for the regular council meeting on July 11th. In his interview with the Neepawa Banner and Press, Wilner shared that he was raised on a cattle farm just north of Rourketon. I attended Rourketon School from kindergarten to grade 12, with 10 years in the 4-H club. My preliminary post-secondary education was obtained in Brandon, so I have been driving Highway 5 through the RM of Rosedale for over 15 years, says Wilner. Wilner has also had over a decade of prior experience in the role of CAO. He got his start in 2012 at the village of Winnipegosis. Since then, he has also acted as CAO for locations such as the RM of St. Rose, the town of Snow Lake, the village of Marwayne in Alberta, the municipality of Bifrost Riverton, and the RM of Cornwallis. To summarize my CAO career, I would say that I am proud of the way I bring fresh leadership and energy to municipalities that I administer, said Wilner. My passion for making a difference and creating opportunities has resulted in getting to steer the creation of capital projects that will last in those municipalities for many years moving forward. Providing some final comments, Wilner shared his current aspirations as Rosedale's new CAO. Municipalities are a fundamental part of our democracy, and with the next general election set for October next year, I aim to administer a fair and transparent election while assisting with the transfer of institutional knowledge between the potentially changing members of council, said Wilner. St. Rose de Lac RCMP make drug trafficking arrest. A picture, the St. Rose RCMP seized this collection of drugs and cash during a traffic sweep this past Saturday. Some routine traffic enforcement recently turned into a notable drug bust for the St. Rose de Lac RCMP. On July 5th at 11:08 p.m., police were conducting a traffic sweep along Road 481 in the Crane River First Nation when officers attempted to pull over an unregistered pickup truck. The vehicle did not stop immediately and instead pulled into a driveway. The driver then escaped the pickup with a bag over his shoulder and attempted to evade police. When captured, police confirmed that the driver was a 17-year-old male. A subsequent search of the youth's bag revealed that he was in possession of individually packaged substances that appear to be marijuana and crack cocaine. As well, he was in possession of a large sum of Canadian currency. The 17-year-old has been charged for possession for the purpose of trafficking. He has been released pending a future court date. Canada's Last Trailblazer by Owen Devereaux. New book at Neepawa Library explores Antarctic project. Pictured is Keith Byram, author of the new book Antarctica Runway, Yukon's Pelly Construction Builds for the British Antarctic Survey. Neepawa Mayor Brian Headley and Agassiz MLA Jody Byram. The phrase trailblazer has lost a little bit of its luster over the years, mostly due to the fact that there aren't that many unexplored trails left to blaze anymore. But if he wanted to, Keith Byram could proudly lay claim to being one of Canada's last trailblazers. Byram, whose roots begin in nearby Oberon, 19 kilometers south of Neepawa, was a leading figure in the construction of a runway and airstrip at the Rothera Research Station in Antarctica back in the early 1990s. This project, along with several other of Keith's exploits through the years, a part of his new book, Antarctica Runway, Yukon's Pelly Construction Builds for the British Antarctic Survey. This 330-page book, which was written by Byram and co-author Patricia Cunning, is now available to read at the Neepawa Public Library. A copy was formally gifted to the community by Byram himself during a special ceremony on Wednesday, July 2nd. Though he now calls Marsh Lake, Yukon, home, Keith still does have family firmly entrenched within the beautiful plains, including Agassiz MLA Jody Byram. It's those local connections that inspired Byram to give a first edition copy to Neepawa and area. Antarctica Runway covers the history of Keith Byram's career, from his early work for the Canadian Air Force, various projects across Canada, and eventual move to Whitehorse in the late 1960s. The book's main focus, however, is his connection to an ambitious partnership between Pelly Construction and the British Antarctic Survey for the job of a lifetime in Antarctica. To this day, the Rothera Research Station is a center for biological research, with Keith's efforts being an important part of allowing that research to continue to this day. Byram's efforts throughout the years, both with the Rothera Research Station and in shaping infrastructure across northwestern Canada, was also recently honored on a national level. Back in June, Keith Byram was appointed a member of the Order of Canada. The Order of Canada is presented by the Governor-General and recognizes outstanding achievement, dedication to the community, and service to the nation. Since its creation in 1967, only 7,600 people have received the honor. On the Order of Canada website, it proudly declares that the contributions of these trailblazers are varied, yet they have all enriched the lives of others and made a difference to this country. Their grit and passion inspire us, teach us, and show us the way forward. Back home here in Neepawa, Keith Byram spoke with the Banner and Press at the book dedication. He noted the region still holds a special place in his heart, and he felt it was important to share. Gwen and I went to school here, so we've always had a big interest in Neepawa and thought it would be nice to share what I think is an interesting story, said Byram. The first printing of Antarctica Runway, Yukon's Pelly Construction builds for the British Antarctic Survey, has been sold out, but there are plans being explored to make a second printing before the end of the year. The book would be available for purchase through the McBride Museum of Yukon History, who assisted in the initial publication. Antarctica Runway is by Keith Byram and Patricia Cunning, with the color photography by Keith and Jennifer Byram. Additional photography was provided by Leanne Brassard. Grandparents' Summer, Fun for All Generations by Veronica Casagay at the Beautiful Plains Museum. Hello there, grandparents. Do your kids or grandkids ever wonder what life was like before smartphones, television, and their iPads? Are they curious of what life was like without the help of electricity and automatic vehicles? The Beautiful Plains Museum has answers. We are inviting all grandparents and their little ones to visit the museum this summer and let them venture down memory lane with you. A museum visit is the perfect way to immerse the younger generation in what life was like during our grandparents' time. Children will be provided with a list of questions to ask their grandparents to learn more about how older generations worked, learned, and played. A family tree is available to be filled out with the help of the grandparents. Family storytelling can help a child grow into a young adult who feels attached to the important people in their life. To top off your visit, we have all sorts of fun activities for the kids. They can get dressed up with fashion styles from the past, hands-on interactive displays, go on an exciting scavenger hunt, do word searches, and play with all types of games and toys. We promise there won't be a dull time during your visit. We are open Tuesdays to Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Sunday afternoons from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Admissions are through donations, so while the summer sun is high in the sky, come and stop by. An ownership shift at Neepawa's Rhythm Cycle Club by Owen Devereaux. The wheels are in motion for Tara McCarty and Landon Cameron on establishing themselves as an even more important part of Neepawa's fitness landscape. Late last month, the duo agreed to terms on the purchase of Rhythm Cycle Club, located at 342 Mountain Avenue in the former co-op building. The exact numbers behind the deal have not been made public, though the ownership transfer date has been confirmed for Friday, August 1st. The pair's local sport and business pedigree is already well known, as Cameron is the general manager and CPGA head golf pro at the Neepawa Golf and Country Club. As well, Landon has been involved for many years in hockey as a volunteer and coach on several different levels, including assistant coach with the Neepawa Titans Junior A Hockey Club. McCarty's sports and fitness resume is just as packed, as she is one of Neepawa's busiest sports and event volunteers with both the Titans and Neepawa Minor Hockey. As well, she helps coach baseball in the summer, teach spin classes year-round, and started our local boys and girls fit clubs. As for the decision to buy the ownership stake of Rhythm Cycle, McCarty told the Banner and Press that the timing on this opportunity was just too good to pass up. Owning a fitness studio is something I have always dreamed about, but the timing just never felt right. But when the opportunity to take over Rhythm Cycle Club presented itself, everything aligned. It felt like the right move for us, not only personally, but for the community of Neepawa. We felt it was our chance to take over something that was already established and had meaning in our community. Our hope is that we continue to grow and build this space for our current clientele, but draw in some new faces as well, said McCarty. In terms of any potential changes due to the new ownership, McCarty stressed that they have some pretty exciting goals for Rhythm and will likely spend the first year figuring out how they are going to get there. As for all current and former members of the Cycle Club, McCarty said had this message to share. We are very fortunate that Rhythm Neepawa has a very dedicated following, and our goal is to continue serving them and the rest of the community of Neepawa. Rhythm is so much more than a spin club. We are a community that supports each other and a safe place that allows people to escape the hustle and bustle of life, McCarty noted. We also appreciate our clients are our biggest sources of growth. The Rhythm Cycle Club offers high-intensity workout programs performed on stationary bikes in a group setting. Anyone who is interested in learning more or offering feedback or comments is asked to share at rhythmneepawa@gmail.com. What are you looking at? Just a dog living the dream. And there's a large photo of Roxy. Says pool time isn't just for the parents, it's for us water-loving pups too. She would also like to remind everyone that even doggos need to remember to practice water safety too. Never swim alone, wear bright colors, and don't forget your life jacket. Have a positively fabulous summer. And there's a large double-page spread about water safety with the pictures of the lifeguards from McCreary, Gladstone, Neepawa, and Minnedosa, if you'd like to have a closer look at those people. A major upgrade for the Kelwood Fire Department by Rob Waddell. The Kelwood Volunteer Fire Department upgraded in a big way when this beauty rolled into town on Tuesday. Fire Chief Earl Burton took a few minutes to answer questions prior to orientation and training with members of the local crew. The truck was funded by a matchable grant that the RM of Rosedale applied for. This unit will allow us to carry more firefighters safely to the scene. There is more storage for tools to be carried to the fire, and with foam capabilities on the new truck, water usage will be less. Even though it is not brand new, having these modern upgrades will make firefighting safer and more efficient. The old truck will not be decommissioned. It will be used for extra water and backup. You can check out the new truck on Saturday, July 26th, when the Kelwood Fire Department will be putting on their aprons and firing up the grills for their annual barbecue fundraiser at the fire hall. It's a great way to support these amazing volunteers and catch up with friends and neighbors. Burton says this year's fundraiser will help us continue to purchase more hand tools and multiples of existing equipment to make our job easier and more efficient. And pictured is the Kelwood Fire Department crew in front of their brand new fire truck. The department staff underwent orientation for the new equipment this week after its arrival on July the 6th. 7 Regions Health Foundation's Challenge to Match raises over $2,000 for seniors' outings. The 7 Regions Health Foundation is celebrating the success of its first annual Challenge to Match, which raised more than $2,000 to provide transportation for seniors living at Third Crossing Manor. This initiative will give residents the chance to enjoy outings in the community, something many of them have not been able to experience in recent years. The foundation issued the challenge earlier this year, encouraging community members and businesses to donate with a match from the foundation to a maximum of $250. The response was overwhelming. Supporters came from across the region came together, donating generously and spreading the word to ensure every resident in Third Crossing Manor will have the opportunity to enjoy meaningful experiences outside the care home. A huge thank you goes out to all the people who donated and shared this campaign, said a spokesperson for the foundation. Your generosity truly makes a difference in a person's life. Together, we've made it possible for every resident to have the chance to enjoy a day out and about. The funds raised will be used to cover transportation costs and other expenses for organized trips. These outings could include simple pleasures like going for lunch, grabbing ice cream, sightseeing around the area, or taking in community events. Plans are already in the works for residents to visit local Christmas light displays, ice cream trips, enjoy crop checking drives, and more. For the seniors at Third Crossing Manor, these excursions mean more than just a change of scenery. Many have limited opportunities to leave the facility, and a day spent exploring the area helps foster joy, connection, and a sense of normalcy. Our seniors have given so much to this community over their lifetimes, the spokesperson added. This is our way of giving back, to show them they're still a vital part of our towns and to give them moments of happiness they'll treasure. The Seven Regions Health Foundation has been supporting health and community initiatives across the region since 1997. Over nearly 3 decades, the foundation has provided funding for projects that enhance quality of life and improve care for local residents. From building Serenity Gardens to helping upgrade medical equipment, the foundation's work has touched countless lives. The success of the challenge to match reflects the strong spirit of giving in the local area and the commitment of residents to care for their own. This is just the beginning, said the foundation. We hope to make this challenge an annual event and continue finding ways to enrich the lives of those at Third Crossing Manor and beyond. For more information about the Seven Regions Health Foundation or to learn how you can support their work, contact the administration office at the Gladstone Health Centre at 204-385-6124. Every donation over $20 qualifies for a tax receipt. All donations, big or small, help ensure a brighter future for seniors and others across the region. Ron Cornell repeats as NGCC Senior Open Champion by Owen Devereaux. We have the making of a mini golf dynasty, it seems, as Ron Cornell has won his 2nd consecutive Neepawa Golf and Country Club Senior Open. This victory is also Ron's 3rd senior title in the last 4 years, as he claimed the honor back in 2022. Cornell, who is from Brandon but plays primarily out of the Clear Lake Golf Course, picked up this year's victory with a solid round of 74, 1 shot better than Craig Richardson. Speaking with the Branner and Press about his result, Cornell said he felt pretty comfortable out there all day, despite some cloud and light rain being a factor early on in the round. The rain was only around for about an hour, so it wasn't that big of a factor. I dressed for the conditions and just tried to keep hitting tee shots pretty much down the middle to limit the potential for mistakes. And then the sun came out and the course is just so good, so well maintained, I was able to go from there, said Cornell. This course is one of my favorites, but this year the condition of it might be the best I have ever seen. It's always good, but I've never seen it in this kind of condition. It was unbelievable. That seemed to be the consensus for the vast majority of golfers out there on Monday, July 7th, as there was very high praise for the shape of the course at the Neepawa Golf and Country Club. General Manager and CPGA Head of Golf Professional Landon Cameron said the efforts of Superintendent Mark Kirkowich and the ground crews ensure Neepawa is always a top-tier golfing location. It doesn't happen by accident. Our superintendent, Mark Kirkowicz, and his crew are phenomenal. They go above and beyond to make sure it's in very good shape, not just for an event like this, but all year, noted Cameron. As well, this year, Clayton Wyburn of Winnipeg claimed top spot in the 70-plus championship flight with a round of 78, one shot better than Warren McLeod of Minnedosa. The 2025 edition of the Neepawa Golf and Country Club Senior Open featured 146 participants from all across Manitoba, an increase of 10 competitors compared to last year. Longest putt on hole 3 to Dave McIntosh, hole 11 Dean Jans, closest to the pin, hole 4 Dennis Foster, hole 6 Joey Pasternak, hole 8 Barry Hawken, hole 12 George McLeod, hole 18 Dale Lyle, long drive 70 plus Merv Bone, and 50 to 69 Bruce Turner. Recent NGCC Senior Open champions 2025 Ron Cornell, 2024 Ron Cornell, 2023 Mike Andrews, and 2022 Ron Cornell. Neepawa Cubs close out Santa Clara regular season by Owen Devereaux. There's a large picture. Neepawa Cubs shortstop Ryan Benson charges the ball in an effort to make a play to first base in the game against Plumas. Benson would pick up the out and assist the Cubs to collect a 4-11 win on Friday, July 4th. As the regular season comes to a close in the Santa Clara Baseball League, the results of every game takes on added significance. For the Neepawa Cubs, their final 4 games will determine if they get home field advantage in the postseason. The first of these games was versus the Austin A's on Wednesday, July 2nd, and saw Zach Platt dominant on the mound, striking out 10 to lead the Cubs to an impressive 7-2 win. To go along with the double-digit strikeouts, Platt also surrendered only 2 runs off 6 hits in a near-complete game. Garrett Rempel came in to earn the save, connecting the final 2 outs of night, while Brad Wilson was the standout at the plate for Neepawa, going 2 for 3 with 3 RBI. A few nights later, the Cubs were paired up against the Plumas Pirates, a team that still had hopes of catching the league-leading Portage Padres in the Santa Clara standings. Neepawa decided to play spoiler, however, defeating Plumas 4-1. With that Pirates loss, Portage secured first place in the overall standings and a guaranteed spot in the Double-A Baseball Provincials as the league's representative. As for the action back on the field, Lincoln Murray earned the win on the mound for the Cubs with a solid 5 1/3 innings. He picked up 4 strikeouts while surrendering just 4 hits. Garrett Rempel came in for the save. But the story of the game was Plumas' inability to get runners around all the bases and past the plate, as they stranded 12 over the course of the game. That included 3 on base at top of the 6th inning. Neepawa wasn't perfect themselves as they left 9 runners on base, but they did send enough across to pick up the win. The win improved Neepawa's record 5-6-2 and tied them for 3rd place with the Carberry Royals. Plumas, meanwhile, dropped to 8-4-1, but still locked down 2nd place and a first-round bye. With a chance to secure a better placement in the postseason, Neepawa traveled down the road to Minnedosa 4-7-3 to face the Mavericks on Monday, July 7th. This game would see Minnedosa slow down the Cubs' recent momentum and defeating Neepawa 4-3. This loss, combined with a Carberry 6-6-2 victory over Austin 3-11-0 on Monday night, set up an important final game between the Royals and the Cubs on Wednesday, July 9th. If Carberry wins or ties that game, they will secure 3rd place and play the Austin A's in the first round of the playoffs. If Neepawa wins, however, they'd finish 3rd and play Austin. To further complicate matters, if the Cubs lose and the Minnedosa Mavericks win their last game, Neepawa will actually drop down to 5th place, losing home field advantage for the first round. So there is still a lot to be determined in the Santa Clara Baseball League. One certainty, however, is that Portage and Plumas get a first-round byes. Unfortunately, these dramatic final games started a few hours after the banner and press publication deadline, so we are unable to share the results with you until the July 18th edition. A new perspective on the old problems. Candidate Dave Clark discusses campaign by Owen Devereaux. The process of running for a political seat for the very first time has been a learning experience for Dave Clark. But the fortunate thing for Clark, and perhaps for Neepawa should he win, is that he is a quick learner. Clark, along with Sherry Grant, are running in the by-election to fill the vacant chair on the Neepawa Town Council. Final voting will take place on Wednesday, July 16th at the Neepawa Civic Administration Office between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. With that date quickly approaching, both candidates have been out in the community making their final case to the public. In his interactions with the public, Clark noted that the overall experience has been very positive so far. It's been going good. Seems like I have a lot of support in the community. People are genuinely happy that I have made the decision to run for councillor. I have spoken to a few residents about different issues and concerns they think need to be addressed. Obviously are the state of the streets and new affordable housing that are the biggest one. Other comments I've had was about the new proposed rec complex, the new development project on the newly acquired 320-acre parcel of land. Another comment was, how do we make sure as the town grows we still keep a vital and vibrant downtown and keep those businesses successful? Clark said discussing these topics with people, but this time as a council candidate, has offered him a new perspective. He hopes to bring that perspective to the conversation around the council table. My goal is to be part of a council that is forward-thinking in the short term to address the needs of the town, but also look 5, 10, and even 20 years down the road and make the right decisions to get us there. I'm your next councillor. A final look at candidate Sherry Grant by Casper Warehan. Neepawa's by-election is near its finale. Next week on July 16th, the regular voting session will be held to determine who the town's citizenry wants to see step up in council. With the main event right around the corner, the Neepawa Banner and Press reached out to candidate Sherry Grant, who noted her campaign has been going well thus far. I've had a good response from the community so far. By-elections are notorious for low voter turnout. However, people seem engaged, said Grant. Many have commented that they took the opportunity to vote in the early poll. It will be interesting to see the final percentage. While conducting her campaign for the position of councillor, Grant shared that she noticed multiple topics of concern among the citizenry. People continue to want to discuss infrastructure, roads, trees, as well as other issues, said Grant. I read over the minutes from the last 6 months and familiarized myself with what has been going on at the council table. I have questions. Grant added, so if you are looking for someone that will ask the hard questions, I'm your next councillor. If you are looking for someone with common sense, I'm your next councillor. If you want someone to listen to you, I'm your next councillor. Finally, if you are looking for someone with experience to finish out this term, vote Grant, Sherry. Voting for the by-election on July 16th will take place between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. at the Town of Neepawa Civic Administration Office located at 275 Hamilton Street in Neepawa. Letter. The Canadian government is lucky to have a scapegoat, by Bob Ford of Minnedosa, Manitoba. The Canadian Liberal government is lucky to have Trump for a scapegoat to cover up their own poor policy. When our veterans came home from World War II, they were a nation of get-it-done doers. They installed these ideals in the first-generation boomers. When these people were the age of majority, this wouldn't happen to Canada. The third generation are you can't do that whiners. Premier Legault of Quebec says Canadian productivity is 30% behind the U.S. Why? We have essential service unions continuously exercising their right to strike. We have unions whining and wanting a 32-hour week. Trudeau told the people they should get a bigger piece of the pie, and now they don't want to work at all. Business and entrepreneurs are suppressed at every turn by regulation and have to go to the US to get things going. Why? The BBC World News treated Trudeau as an extreme left-wing socialist. If you watched how his disgraceful antics with world leaders turned many of them away, you would be ashamed. He insulted and laughed at Trump. He cost us the pea market in India and the $1.50 bushel on canola with China. Our CBC, paid with our tax dollars, protected and promoted him and his regime when they should have torn them apart. If we are paying a political news outlet, they should work for us, not a socialist party or any party. The civil service increased 43% under Trudeau, 9 feds for every 1,000 people. We are being controlled so bad, no wonder we can't even get projects done. They're even inspecting food vendors used 1 or 2 days a year at country fairs. They let in 17,600 criminals, and how many more we don't know about, and how many Islamic terrorists. Why? When I read Alberta is pouting, it tells me that people aren't getting the facts and don't know what's going on. Economists calculated that Alberta lost $500 billion. Read it again. That $500 billion during Trudeau's reign of Canadian destruction, led by Catherine McKenna, followed by Guillot, backed by Trudeau. Almost 50% of this would have been paid out in equalization payments, being a have-not province. How much money did Manitoba lose? A government that blows money like ours has to have an income. We will all be pouting when they take the capital gains on our homes and businesses. The headline reads, Canada makes first shipment of pressurized natural gas to Asia. Canada did nothing but obstruct that industry, but now the media is excited about it. Alberta planted the seed 3 or 4 years ago, and Danielle Smith's recent trip to Asia finalized a deal with Japan, and Japan may want to invest in a pipeline. Carney has done nothing but try to mend fences. The obstruction to development is not acceptable if Canada is to remain a sovereign country. Please pay attention and get your political news from several sources. An additional letter on page 17. Letter to the editor, enough is enough. The Progressive Conservative Party of Manitoba should cease operations. The last straw for me came with the outcome of the Silica report done by a third party. The repercussions to those involved to date tells me that the present Progressive Conservative Party of Manitoba cannot or will not follow their constitution and thus should cease operations immediately. With a $650,000 debt and 11,000 members, it works out to $59 each plus $41 to wind down operations for a total of $100 per member. That will cost less than that out of pocket with tax benefits allowed. This is the responsible way, making sure that all our debts are paid so that any political party in the future that is prepared to develop a constitution with input from the grassroots and follow it should not have any problems with financing. I am not the only conservative who shares this opinion. I will pay my share. I hope that other party members will pay theirs. A lifelong conservative. Enough is enough. Harvey Dan of West St. Paul, Manitoba. Crew honored with Economic Development Award by Josh Jackson. A local community builder is being lauded with an Economic Development Association of Manitoba Award of Distinction. The town of Neepawa's Economic Development Officer, Marilyn Crew, was recognized at EDAM's 9th Annual Manitoba Economic Development Awards Gala on June the 25th, 2025, during their annual forum in Steinbach. Crew said it was a humbling experience and she felt validation for the passion she has for economic development in Neepawa. It motivates me to work harder because in this field of my peers, I've received this award and I feel like people are watching to see what I'm going to do next. There's no rest. It drives me forward, she said. Professionally, this is probably one of the highlights of my career. Because of the membership base this award is selected from, it means so much to me that my peers in economic development see the hard work that I do, because I know here in the community people see it, but to see it as a provincial level is an amazing thing. The award of distinction is given to an individual in the field of economic development whose accomplishments have made a significant contribution and demonstrated exceptional best practices, such as providing leadership, mentorship, and motivation to fellow community development practitioners, cultivating community economic development in Manitoba. It takes a village. The EDO couldn't accomplish it without collaboration, and pointed to local organizations such as the Neepawa Chamber of Commerce, Westlake Employment Services, the Neepawa Area Immigration Settlement Services, alongside the town administration and council. I'm an office of one for Neepawa, and so the partnerships that I form in Neepawa, regionally and across the province, help me to do my job better, she said. I can't do my job without a good team in the office. I collaborate with economic development organizations in the region, and we bounce ideas off each other, and certainly at the provincial level as well. The list goes on and on. I strongly believe that you can't do this alone. Crew mentioned she's proud of the work accomplished for the town of Neepawa, from the storefront improvement program to What's the Big Idea, as well as the Neepawa Training Center. But she said there's more to the eye that people don't see, like the meetings she attends, the collaborations, the partnerships, or every new idea she brings to the council. She said it's a privilege to work in Neepawa. Neepawa has a history of a strong work ethic and good community businesses. A lot is happening here. The new hospital, the new school that's coming, and all the local businesses that make Neepawa a strong regional hub for shopping, agriculture, and more. Those businesses that have chosen to put down roots here too, all together make Neepawa strong. The EDO is excited for the future and the growth of our town. She said housing is currently our biggest barrier to growth, so that makes it my priority. Working on that project 320 and the first phase of getting some houses on those lots. That's an important part of my strategy. The attraction of a new daycare is critical. We know that the lack of daycare limits people's work abilities, and for employers to be able to find employees, they need to have good daycare, said Crew. I'm working with a new group that's working on some doctor retention. There's always more to do. I'm always on the lookout for that next new business that wants to come to Neepawa, or a new industry that wants to come here or expand from somewhere else to provide additional services and retail for Neepawa. On page 18, we have the McCreary School Awards for the graduation held on Thursday, June the 26th, and the Erickson Collegiate Awards also held in June, with the medal winners all listed. And on the back page of the paper, Neepawa and Area 4-H Beef Club Achievement Day results from July the 1st, 2025. The judge was Dr. Grayson Ross of Kemney, and the head leader was Shelley Bjarnason. And the one news item in the looking back was the opening of the new chemotherapy unit in Neepawa on July the 1st, 2005. And that's it for today. Thank you.